Hey everybody, you're watching We the Fandom, where we discuss comic books, pop culture, and the fandom experience. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more content. How's it going everybody? Jacob here at We the Fandom, and in today's video, I'll be doing my breakdown and review of the first episode of Marvel's What If, a new Marvel Disney Plus show taking us through the multiverse and giving us alternate versions of the MCU films, with this first episode being titled, What If Captain Carter Were the First Avenger? As will be the case with all these episodes, each alternate reality will be narrated by the Watcher, voiced by Jeffrey Wright. He starts the show off by giving us a quick summary of the life of the main Steve Rogers, and then tells us how this universe deviates from that. I'm going to go ahead and quickly summarize Captain America the First Avenger, partially for those who haven't seen it in a while, but also to make it easier to point out the differences. So Captain America the First Avenger starts off by showing us the Red Skull, leader of Hydra, rampaging through Europe to find the Tesseract, eventually finding it in Norway and using it to fuel his experiments. Wanting to stop the advance of the Red Skull, the US decides to make a super soldier of their own, and skinny Steve Rogers from Brooklyn is chosen for the experiment. He becomes Captain America, but the creator of the serum is killed, leaving him as the only super soldier, and afterwards he joins the war effort and goes off on a mission to rescue his best friend Bucky, as well as other captured members of the 107th Regiment. During a mission to capture Hydra scientist Arnim Zola, Steve loses his best friend Bucky during a fight where he falls off a train, eventually to be found by Hydra and turned into the Winter Soldier. Cap and the Howling Commandos infiltrate a Hydra base, where Steve is able to prevent an aircraft from deploying bombs all over the world, while the Red Skull gets evaporated by the Tesseract while trying to use it. Steve sacrifices himself to crash the aircraft in the water, leading him to be frozen in ice, only to be found and thawed out just prior to the events of the Avengers. And this episode basically starts off the same as the film up until the experiment where Rogers was supposed to become a super soldier, as the Hydra agent who sets off the bomb in the lab does so early and shoots Steve Rogers before he got the serum, leaving no one else available or willing to undergo the treatment except for Peggy Carter. The experiment is successful, but just like Steve Rogers, Peggy is initially sidelined by the military as they are disappointed that only one soldier was created, but in this case it's also because Peggy is a woman. Just like with Steve, however, and with the help of Howard Stark, she becomes a hero known as Captain Carter, wearing an outfit and wielding a shield with the Union Jack. And I know a lot of people were expecting her to be a version of Captain Britain. I know I definitely was. For those of you who don't know, Captain Britain, aka Brian Braddock, is another Marvel character who, unlike Steve Rogers, gained his powers through magic from the wizard Merlin, and is a member of the Captain Britain Corps, an organization created to monitor the Omniverse from various threats, which is another reason I thought she would be Captain Britain, as this show is all about the multiverse. Peggy ends up going on a mission to acquire the Tesseract, and I don't know if it's just me, but she seems a lot stronger than Steve Rogers, and with CGI, it's not like they couldn't have shown similar scenes in the MCU. But her mission is successful, and now that Howard Stark has the Tesseract, he builds a World War II era Iron Man suit, similar to the one Tony Stark first created, but bigger and powered by what we know to be the Space Stone. Steve Rogers, still a little skinny guy as he never underwent the Super Soldier Serum treatments, ends up being the one to wear the armor, and joins Captain Carter and the Howling Commandos in the efforts to take down Hydra, where he becomes known as the Hydra Stomper. Steve Rogers, being a version of Iron Man as opposed to Captain America, is reminiscent of his story in an alternate universe comic series called Bullet Points, where Abraham Erskine had died a day before the experiment was supposed to happen, preventing Steve from becoming Captain America, and instead having him join the Iron Man program, where he becomes surgically attached to the suit due to it having electrical connections to his heart. Despite how short this episode is, they hint a lot more heavily at the romance between Peggy and Steve than they did in the movie, with both of them even calling the other their hero at one point and about to kiss before they're interrupted by Howard Stark. During a mission to attack the train and capture the Red Skull, which they call Operation Where Eagles Dare, a reference to the 1968 British World War II action film featuring a secret intelligence service paratroop team raiding a castle. This reality differs in that while trying to board the train, Bucky didn't fall. He almost did, but Peggy catches him, and he jokes how she almost ripped his arm off, which is a little nod to him becoming the Winter Soldier. But while Bucky doesn't disappear this time, Steve Rogers in the armor gets blown up and captured. The Red Skull, now once again in possession of the Tesseract, uses it not just to power weapons, but to open a portal into another dimension. Meanwhile, Peggy, Bucky, Howard, and the Howling Commandos go on a rescue mission to free Steve, and when they arrive, they do get Steve back, but the Red Skull has successfully opened a portal, and a bunch of tentacles are coming through that entrance. Now my first idea is that this is Shumagorath, an interdimensional and nearly omnipotent dark god, usually resembling a monster from the Lovecraft mythos, and who has been hypothesized will show up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Whatever this monster ends up being, it almost immediately kills the Red Skull, and Peggy is trying to fight it while Steve was able to get his armor back, but it quickly runs out of energy without the Tesseract, and he becomes useless in the fight. point, Howard Stark isn't able to close the portal, and so Peggy sacrifices herself to push the monster through. She is successful, but ends up getting sucked into the portal herself, coming out the other side into basically what was the beginning of the Avengers film, where she meets Nick Fury and Hawkeye, who tell her that she's been gone for 70 years. So it was kind of an interesting episode, seeing how things differed in this universe. They even had the whole cast from Captain America the First Avenger return, minus Chris Evans. And this is just an assumption, but I think Captain Carter is going to show up in more episodes, or at the very least, the finale, where some multiversal team will probably come together. I do have some complaints about this episode, though. The first is sort of a complaint about the MCU, but I wish we could have seen Steve Rogers in the MCU do the stuff that Peggy Carter did, like easily knock troop-carrying trucks out of the way, or jump not just from planes, but onto multiple planes mid-flight. As for the episode itself, I couldn't help but laugh at the character design for Captain Carter, as it looked like they basically took her face and put it on a man's body. Believe it or not, there have been not just a number of women in the comics who had a version of the Super Serum, but also just super strong women who don't look like dudes. And in general, I don't really care for the animation style, though I did like the art stills that they used in the end credits. Overall, I'm going to have to say that I was mostly disappointed. Besides the appearance by what I believe may be Shuma Gorath, there just wasn't anything in the plot or the characters that I really cared about. And the episode is also only 28 minutes long, which is really short even for the Disney Plus series, as even though the Disney Plus series episodes are shorter than a movie, when you add them all together, you get 6-hour or so movies centered around a small cast of characters, while this was taking a 2-hour movie and condensing it to 28 minutes. But I am still looking forward to the next episode and hope that they get better because I really want to like this show. My biggest hope for this series is that they would use it to show more stuff from the comics. For instance, I'm really excited to see the Marvel Zombies episode. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. I'll see you all next time. Bye.